wonderful viewers. Welcome back to Eat Right with Ebubokusia. Today we'll be discussing the connection between food innovation and how it benefits our health. I am here in the studio with one of my lecturers and I would leave him to introduce himself.
Okay, so my name is Benek Jandu. I'm a faculty member at Department of Nutrition and Food Science of the University of Ghana.
Thank you very much for passing that. So, Doc, I would want us to first touch on food innovation in general. What is it for our viewers?
Okay, so you realize that food, normally what we are going to be consuming, may sometimes be in a form that you may not really be able to consume or your body may not be able to make use of it. So that brings about the fact that we can transform the food into other forms. So that's what has brought about the issue of innovation, so that sometimes you can add value to it or sometimes improve on the quality or the nutrients that are in there.
Okay, Doc, please, there has been issues with food innovation and its quality. A lot of people think processed food are bad in general. I would want us to touch on it.
Processed foods are not bad in general, like you're saying, because you realize that sometimes the food is not always available at a particular time.
Yes.
So if you leave the food as it is, most likely they are going to go bad or
Yes.
they get spoiled.
Yes.
So you may need to transform them into other forms that are a bit more stable and can be available at another time. So that brings in the point of you having to process them. So you can actually process them for those reasons, making them a bit more safe, and then the nutrients are also in there and it can be available to you at another time. Because you realize sometimes you don't have certain food available to you here in Ghana, but because of processing, it can be available to you over here. So
Yes.
processing has its part. And there are instances where the processing sometimes can actually improve or let's say enhance the
So
nutritional,
fortification,
exactly. So you talk of fortification or enriching your food, then that is where sometimes the processing becomes, because it's like you're having a balance between it being nutritious and being safe and also available all the time. So that's where the balance is when it comes to the process. So you can't downplay the processing, but you have to find a balance between the food being safe, being available, and the nutrients also in good supply, so that when you eat the food, the body can benefit out of it.
Okay, so in summary, I think we are touching on the quality and then the shelf life
Exactly.
of the food.
Exactly.
Okay, Doc, please, what are some of the trends in food innovations now?
Now consumers have become a bit more sophisticated. I mean, people are just not just looking at food for the nutrition bit, but sometimes they are looking at the contribution of the food to their health.
Yes.
And that has become a major driving force for the innovations that are coming in food now, because everybody's like, I want to benefit. So now everybody's asking, when I eat this food, what do I get beyond the nutrition? So that's what is spearheading most of these trends that you are seeing now when it comes to food. So you have people now trying to shift from animal source protein to plant source protein. So now you have a lot of people talking about plant proteins and alternative sources of protein. So that's also one popular trend now. People are moving towards that for various reasons. Some people are talking about animal welfare and all of that. So people are moving towards that. So in line with that, you can now also have what people call cellular technology, or using biotechnology, or some people call it cellular agriculture, where they are using cells to grow the food product. So rather than having a whole animal, you can pick up the cells, supply them with the nutrients, and then you can grow them. That's what people now are calling lab cultured meat or lab meat.
Yes.
That's where it's coming from. Then alternative ones are things like your fungi, like the mushroom.
Yes.
Those are the trends now that people are looking at. Then people are also looking at what some people call nutraceutical or bioactive compounds. So you're looking at those compounds that are in the food or provide health benefits rather than just the basic nutrients that is given. And then another trend people are moving towards more of natural. So
Yes.
in order sometimes to prepare let's say to help the food to stay a bit longer, traditionally people were moving towards using synthetic preservatives.
Yes.
But now it's rolled back again. Almost every month now is moving towards the natural preservatives. So you're talking about herbs, you're talking about spices that they can actually now use to help them preserve the food or keep them longer. So that's what people are doing. People too are extracting some of these bioactive compounds like antioxidants and co from some of our natural sources like the vegetables, the fruits and the likes, and then they are incorporating it into the processed food in case the levels have been reduced because of the processing.
Yes.
So those are the trends. And now people are also concerned about the safety of their product. So packaging is becoming important.
Yes.
So now I hear people talking about active packaging, intelligent packaging,
yes.
smart packaging. So you're looking at packaging that communicates some information to the consumer.
Yes.
Maybe the level of freshness
yes.
or potential spoilage. And some people are looking at technologies or packaging that kind of influence the environment around the food so they can keep much more longer. So that's also another trend. Then now the big issue now is about sustainability.
Yes.
I mean, it's the big thing now. People are looking at, cutting down on or the consumption of resources to produce products, and then looking at the waste and the impact of that processing on the environment. So that's also become a big issue now. So people are looking at sustainable ways of processing or producing food that can limit the impact on the environment. So these are some of the trends that are coming up with some of these food innovations that are around. But there are quite a lot too that are still coming up, aside all these ones that I may have mentioned here.
Yes, but I've read about the 3D.
Yeah.
I think it will take a while for us to really accept.
I mean, it's not really anything big. It's just
Yes.
like, you design the food and it's
printed.
And it's printed in code, but it's actually you design and then you get exactly what you have designed. So you can actually put in ingredients in there, and you can actually design to give you a particular shape or a particular form in which you want. That's the advantage of it. So that's what they are looking at. So you have a system there, you create or mix up your ingredients, everything, put it in there, and then it comes out. It's just like those who do the culinary people, the cake. They have pipes exactly that they use manually. But with the 3D printing, this is like a whole machine that is set up that can give you the design that you're looking for a specific food. But you have also created your ingredients that you can use to give you that particular food. That's what the 3D involves, basically.
Doc, please, I would want us to touch on the safety in food innovations, because sometimes people have challenges accepting it, especially now that on social media. I don't want to mention the country, but you see how they produce food and makes you wonder, so is this what I buy and then I eat? I would want us to touch on the food safety.
Food safety is very key. So amid the innovations and everything, I think at the end, people will be concerned about, will it be safe if I take it in? So at the heart of the innovation, a huge consideration for the adoption of most of the innovations is the safety issue. It always comes up. So some of these new trends and these processing technologies that are coming up, people are concerned about the long-term effect of some of these processes on the food, whether in the end it will still be safe. Because in the long run, you want to take in the food and then it should benefit your body or promote your health. So if it ends up becoming unsafe and you end up getting sick, then it should be a great source of concern. So safety when it comes to food is very key. It starts right along the whole chain of processing, right from the farm, what people are inputting. So we are talking about agrochemicals or manure or other inputs. The food safety chain should start from there, right down to those who are processing, to the retail, and even to us, the consumers, because the food, to the point you take it in, should be safe. So there are steps or things people should be doing along these lines, so that whatever you're taking in the end, you know that it's going to benefit you and it's not going to end up making you sick. So safety, very key, very important along the whole chain to make the food available right on your table. So as I said, although it's processing, people are still concerned about if it is safe. Whether the products that are coming out using these innovations or these new technologies are safe. So at the heartbeat of that, that's what is bringing about standards, regulations, and all of that. So sometimes some of these things are not really acceptable to a lot of people because of some of these concerns. So you have authorities that are looking at some of these things. Let's investigate and see, in the long run, how does it affect the safety the products that people are, then they can now look at its widespread acceptance or sometimes granting license for some of these technologies. So, for instance, with the lab cultured meat and all of that
Yes.
produced in the lab, those are the concerns about it. Like, we don't know. So, there are a lot of in betweens there that people are concerned. Is it the same as the meat from the whole animal? Does it have the same texture? The nutrient wise,
Yes.
all of that, people
All
are
of
concerned
that.
because they are looking at applying to almost every food you can think about, the
Yes.
seafood, and even extending beyond that. So
Yes.
that's why people are concerned about. It has its advantages. Probably you should be able to produce a little bit more food without
Yes.
maybe probably not having to rear the animals
yes.
and all of the issues that come with it. But the other side is the safety.
The safety of it.
It's of utmost concern to the consumer that, okay, can I really consume this and I'm not going to have any issues with them.
Issues. Yeah.
So the safety is very key. Like I said, in the long run, you want to take the food in and have all the benefits that you can. And if the food is not safe and it becomes a problem for you,
Yes.
then what will be the whole point of us
The
trying
point
to
of-
go through
yes.
that process? So, I mean, safety is very key.
Doc, I like how you mentioned that the food safety, it starts from even the
Chain straight
the
from
farm.
the farm
because
to the
what
table.
you plant, what you plant is what will be harvested, and then the transportation part,
Everything.
and then the process, all the value chains add value or can make it harmful.
Yeah.
Doc, I would want us to bring it to our homes.
Mhm.
Most of the time, we think that food innovations are what is done mostly in the factories, but we forget in our homes we do some form of processing.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, I would want us to shed some light into that.
Yeah, we do the processing because, like I said, most of the food items are commodities or are going to be coming in the raw form. So in the raw form, your body may not be able to make use of them. But for some products like the fruits and vegetables and the likes,
Yes.
you may have to, or you can actually eat them as they are.
Yes.
But even with that one, because of the safety concerns, like I mentioned,
yes.
then you may have to go into a bit of processing. So you can sometimes talk of minimally processed. You're not applying a lot of heat and all of other things, but you're looking at getting rid of anything that is part of the food from the farm that may pose health risk to you. So you're talking about washing them, treating them, all of that. Sometimes peeling off, taking off. Sometimes people add a little bit of heat, like the vegetables, toss it in the pan. All of that
Yes.
are ways of trying to make sure it's safe. And all of that are actually considered to be processing. Because
Yes.
anything you do to the raw food as a means of making them edible or transforming them will still be considered processing anyway. So we all do the processing, but it's
Yes.
at different levels.
Different levels.
Yes, you can go to the other end where you're not having all those packaged food and canned products and all of that. You can go, but all of us in a way do process our food so that we can make it or have it in forms that we can actually consume or take in.
Yes, I think there are certain things that our viewers may not really consider, but it's very important. We are encouraging we are encouraging people to eat fruits and vegetables. However, at our homes, we trying to process it, we end up contaminating it. Even in the consumption, how it's washed, what water was used, if you decide to cut it, which chopping board was used, that all these things come into play, but most of the time our focus is on what the big industries are doing. Meanwhile, the little that we can do to protect ourselves, we end up contaminating the fruits and vegetable because probably the same chopping board and knife used for raw meat, we are using the same thing too on the fruits and vegetables, and then we eat it. There could be some salmonella or other things that will be also impacting. Doc, I would want us to touch on the future directions and then its impact on the food system in general.
I mean, for the future, I mean, these technologies are coming up because of the whole issue about safety and the food being of quality.
Yes.
So we talk about the nutrient wise and the like. So it was good for us to have some of these innovations and technologies coming up. Sometimes they provide us with variety in terms of the products that we can get from the same commodity. Sometimes, like I said, it can enhance or improve certain properties of the food or even improve the nutrient wise. So
Yes.
those are, I mean, the good side of it. So if we are concerned about the future, then we should be looking at research, collaboration, investments into some of these technology and its impact
Yes.
on the safety and the quality of the final products that you are going to be getting out if you are employing some of these technologies to process our foods.
Thank you very much, Doc, for touching on this. And I believe this is something that we can do even beyond our homes. The inspiration is to advocate for us to do some form of processing in our homes in order to get the quality and then the shelf life intact for the fruits and vegetable and other meals, wholesome meals that we are advocating that we use. However, we need to invest in research so that we will get to know which of the techniques will be ideal for the particular foods that we are concerned of. So that at the end, we will end up producing wholesome food that are of good quality and the shelf life too is intact. Thank you very much for watching till the end. It has been Eat Right with Ebube Kosia. Stay tuned for the next episode.